Okay, I want you to think about something. What if the next big breakthrough in saving lives didn't come from a new scalpel, but from better practice? Today, we're diving into a pitch that could completely change the game for surgical training. It's called NeuroSketch XR 2.0, and it's all about rethinking how we prepare surgeons for the most important moments of their lives.
Look at this number, 250,000. That's how many people in the US die every single year from preventable medical errors. I mean, just let that sink in. That is a football stadium packed with people. And for so many of them, the problem traces back to a single shocking failure point, the way we train our surgeons. This is a massive crisis, hiding right in front of us.
So to become a neurosurgeon, a resident has to train for more than 7 years. And that's before they're even allowed to operate on a living brain by themselves. 7 years! It's all textbooks, watching other surgeons, and assisting. But it really makes you wonder, right? In all that time, how much of it is spent actually feeling what it's like to perform the surgery?
Now you think, well, we've got technology for that. But here's the crazy part. 98% of the medical training apps out there use a standard video game controller. Just picture that for a second. It's like trying to learn how to be a world-class painter, but your only tool is a brick. It's a complete mismatch, and that is the heart of the problem.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? We would never, ever let a pilot get into the cockpit of a 747 without them spending hundreds of hours in a simulator that feels exactly like the real thing. And yet, we're sending surgeons into maybe the most complex thing in the known universe, the human brain, with not much more than books and crossed fingers. The double standard is just wow.
So let's break this down. We live in this age of incredible technology, so why does surgical training feel like it's stuck in the past? Why are we failing to give the very people we trust with our lives the tools they desperately need to be the best they can be?
And here's the contrast, laid bare. On one side, you've got the old way, flat pictures in a book, cadavers that can't bleed or react, and VR that feels more like you're playing a game than performing a surgery. But on the other side is what surgeons actually need, a 3D system that feels real, tools that feel like tools, and the ability to train from anywhere in the world. That's the huge gap we have to close.
And this leads to a huge realization. For years, everyone was focused on making better software, better graphics, but they were missing the point. The software was never the real problem. It was the hardware. You can't build a Formula One car if you're stuck using a lawnmower engine. The missing piece was the physical tool itself.
And this is the moment everything changes. This is the hardware unlock. The second the right tool came into existence, a whole new world of possibilities opened up. So let's meet the solution. NeuroSketch XR 2.0.
Now, this is not just another app. It's a full-on intelligence platform built for mixed reality. And here's the absolute game changer. It's all built around the precision of a stylus. It's not a clunky controller. It's a virtual surgical instrument that you hold like a real one.
The whole thing is built on 5 core pillars, and when you put them all together, you get this incredible, complete ecosystem. And because it's so tied to this specific piece of hardware, it basically puts them in a league of their own. So let's run through these pillars real quick. First, you've got the Neural Explorer. Think of it like a Google Earth for the human brain. Then there's the surgical simulator, where you practice actual procedures and the AI can throw curveballs at you like a sudden bleed. The Global OR lets surgeons and students meet up in the same virtual room from anywhere on the planet. The Pathophysiology AI is just wild. You can literally paint a disease onto a healthy brain and watch what happens. And finally, the Mastery system makes learning addictive with points, leaderboards, and challenges.
Okay, so let's step inside this virtual operating room and really see why this new hardware changes everything. I mean, how can a simple-looking stylus be such a revolutionary leap forward?
Well, the difference is just night and day. A controller has zero pressure sensitivity. This stylus, it has over 4,000 levels. That means you can actually feel the difference between layers of tissue. A controller has no idea how you're holding it. The stylus knows the exact tilt and angle. So what does all this add up to? It means you're building real muscle memory. The skills you learn here aren't just theoretical. They transfer directly into the real-world operating room.
Of course, having a mission to save lives is one thing, but to actually make a difference, you need a smart, sustainable business behind it. So let's talk about the money. The entire market for medical simulation is enormous. We're talking $22 billion. NeuroSketch is targeting a very specific $4.2 billion slice of that pie. And their goal? To capture a pretty conservative $11.45 million in recurring revenue by their 3rd year. It's a clear, focused plan.
And you can see how they get there. They're not just selling to one type of customer, they're targeting individual residents, entire hospital systems, and even big pharmaceutical companies. That creates all these different revenue streams, which is what fuels the incredible growth you see projected here, climbing to over 11 million a year.
But honestly, the tech, the projections, that's only half the story. The real vision here, the thing that gets you right in the heart, is so much bigger. It's about democratizing the scalpel. It's about fairness.
I want you to picture a medical student. She's brilliant, she's passionate, but she's in rural Nigeria with limited access to top-tier training facilities.
Now picture a resident at Johns Hopkins, one of the best hospitals in the world, surrounded by every possible resource.
With NeuroSketch, they're both practicing the exact same complex procedure, on the exact same dynamic holographic brain, guided by the same AI mentor. The thousands of miles between them just disappear.
And this is the punchline. This is the whole point. For the first time in human history, where you live, your zip code, doesn't have to determine how good of a surgeon you can become. The best training on Earth is suddenly available to everyone.
It just leaves you with this one massive thought. What if the key to saving those 250,000 lives every year isn't some new surgical robot, but instead it's giving every single surgeon the chance to be perfect in a simulation long before they ever touch a real patient?